I spoke about in a previous video that the narcissist is very childish and they often lack manners and social graces. So another offshoot of that is that they tend to have a total disregard for boundaries and comfort zones. All narcissists tend to behave in such a way with the purpose of making you feel uncomfortable, and it's just another one of their many tactics to be in control. To a narcissist, the other people's feelings are completely meaningless. Everyone is just a cardboard cutout that represents people. Individuals with this disorder, they believe that other people exist merely to fill their needs. And when you exhibit feelings, the narcissist will often ignore them or poke fun at you for having them. They have no empathy at all, so they have no capacity to understand how you feel. They know that you have feelings, but they have no cognitive ability to really understand those feelings. I have spoken to a number of people who've dealt with narcissists, and everyone's experience is a little bit different, but what is similar is that the end result leaves everyone feeling very annoyed. One way the narcissist shows his lack of boundaries is that they will dominate the conversation without even realizing that other people are irritated by this. They're very rude, very socially awkward this way, and they don't really see it. I'm going to get very personal with you right now. I'm going to share some details from my relationship so you know what I went through, because everyone's situation is going to be different. With Robert, everything he said had a very subtle, very sexual, pervy undertone. And I mean everything he said, from the color socks I was wearing to what I was having for dinner. Everything he commented on was designed to make me feel uncomfortable. For a long time, I couldn't figure out if it was intentional, but after a while, he knew what made me feel very icky, and he just kept doing it for fun. Being playful is fine, but if you know that you're making someone feel very grossed out, a healthy adult would stop doing it. Now, growing up, him and his father and his friends, they used to be really into fart humor, and he carried that into adulthood, and it just got very, very extreme. Now, I know that every guy has a particular body part that they're very into, and with him, it was butts. He was really into butts. This quickly morphed from just a preference to a fetish to a really extreme obsession. Now, I'm not uptight at all. I've been listening to Howard Stern on a daily basis for years. I've watched sick videos online out of curiosity. I really appreciate gross humor, but it's for entertainment. I don't think about it 24 hours a day. Robert was absolutely obsessed. He turned everything into a joke having to do with bodily functions. Now, I'm into eating really healthy. I eat a lot of vegetables and I make juice and stuff like that, and he made me really uncomfortable to the point where I couldn't even talk about cooking. I couldn't even eat in front of him because he would turn every single thing into a very unnecessary conversation about fiber and bodily functions and bathroom habits and stuff, and it was just not fun, being around him sometimes. There was an ongoing joke between him and his friends that he would hang out at women's bathrooms and listen in on what was going on. If we were in a public place like a movie theater or a mall, he would ask me what the bathroom was like, and when I said, "No, stop that, that's really gross," he would just get upset and say, "Oh, I'm only kidding, you have to lighten up." He would very obviously check out women in front of me, and if he was not too obnoxious about it, I didn't really mind. But sometimes he was very loud and very obvious about it, and it made me uncomfortable. I would tell him, "Please don't do that when you're with me." And he would say, "Oh, I'm just kidding, don't take it so seriously." Now, a healthy person would apologize. They would understand your comfort levels, and they would respect your comfort zones. And they would stop doing the inappropriate behavior. But a narcissist does not care, since they don't understand your comfort levels. On numerous occasions, he would use my computer, and he would stay logged in, and then when I went to use it, I would see all this weird stuff that he was up to. The videos he would watch, he would leave on my computer. They were absolutely disgusting. Not only did he have a very gross and immature sense of humor, but if he wanted to hide all that stuff, he would. But he left it on my computer because I guess he knew I was going to see it. I would go on YouTube and I would see all the previous things that he had watched. And I told you, he was obsessed with fart humor, so it would be endless videos of people farting. I didn't understand, what he was doing. I would see this and I'd be like, "Get this off my computer. What are you doing? What is wrong with you?" And he would either accuse me of snooping around, even though it was my computer, and we would fight about it, or he would laugh. Narcissists love drama, they love tension, so if they could start a fight with you for entertainment, they will. They love to push your buttons. So when I would see these things on my computer, I really hoped that on some level it was just a joke, and he didn't actually enjoy watching these things. But no, this was his sense of humor, and I laugh about it now, but at the time it really bothered me that this is what he would do all day. Narcissists have a very, very strong capacity to feel shame and embarrassment when they try to accomplish something and they fail. But when it comes to their own actions, they are not ashamed or embarrassed at all. If it can make you feel uncomfortable by them doing weird stuff, they've won and they feel great. Another aspect of the lack of boundaries stems from a narcissist's jealousy. They're very jealous by nature. They have a fear of abandonment, so they're always worried that you're going to kind of see the type of person that they really are and that you're going to leave them. So they're very controlling because they're always fearing that narcissistic injury is going to come. So what I experienced constantly was Robert interrupting my conversations with people, men and women. If I was talking to a female friend, he just assumed I was saying terrible things about him, and he would interrupt the conversation. If I was talking to a guy, he assumed I was interested in this guy, and he would, again, interrupt my conversation. It could be any guy. It could be one of his friends. He assumed I was telling his friends awful things about him. He assumed I was trying to be with his friend. If we were at a store and I asked a male sales associate where I could find something, he would loudly barge into the conversation like an animal, and it was really embarrassing. Healthy people do not behave like this. Children behave like this. If they want to get their parents' attention, they don't say, "Excuse me," they just start talking. If you've noticed any of the above behaviors, or some version of them, you're dealing with a very unhealthy person. Even if they aren't a narcissist, labels are not that important. If they do any of these things, there's something wrong. Another way that they cross boundaries is known as grooming. Grooming is essentially abuse disguised as advice. That's where they tell you how to style your hair, how to dress, what you should eat, what you should not eat, what kind of exercises you should do. It's really, really rude and very inappropriate. They will say that they're trying to help, but this is not done as constructive criticism. It's a form of psychological abuse. It has nothing to do with trying to improve yourself. It's actually a tactic designed to tear down your self-esteem. Lack of boundaries is a very generalized characteristic, but grooming occurs more in a relationship setting, so that particular video will be under the red flag playlist. I have a few more to make first before I do that one. So to wrap this up, setting boundaries and standards with a narcissist is very necessary, but it's also useless and impossible. The inner child just does not know or understand how to deal with boundaries. Remember, they want mommy's attention, and negative attention will suffice. So they'll be rude, they'll do weird things, they'll say weird things to make you uncomfortable. And if it pushes your buttons and gives them attention, that's what they wanted to do.